G'day, it's Brak here, and welcome to today's video where we explore which clan is the best. And this is episode 3 of this series. In episode 1, we looked at clan cultures. In episode 2, I talked about warlord traits. In future episodes, we're going to be looking at specific clans' shiny governs. That's the next one in episode 4. And in episode 5, we open the Psychic Awakening book to discuss clan-specific psychic abilities. But today, we're going to look at clan-specific stratagems, and it's coming up very, very shortly. Before we start, let's do a recap. In episode 1, we discovered that Deathskulls have the best clan culture, as listed on page 125 of the Ork Codex. In episode 2, we learnt that the Blood Axes have the best warlord trait, as listed on page 133 of the Ork Codex. And so far, by combining the two, we see that the race for the best clan is as follows. Goths coming in last with a 34.7 out of 40. Then we have the Freebooters with a 37.9, and the Bad Moons in 5th place with 35.9. In 4th place, Deathskulls with 37.8. In 3rd place, we have the Blood Axes with 37.9 points. And that gives us a tie at 1st place, with both Evil Sons and the Snakebites getting 38.8 points each. Oh, that's a bit interesting. But what will happen when we compare and then add the clan-specific stratagems to the mix? Will there be any changes? Will these graphs change once more? Will another clan become the leader of the pack? Will the Deathskulls get their first position back? Well, we are all getting ahead of ourselves here, and all will be revealed in due time. In this episode, I will be looking at clan-specific stratagems, which you can find on page 128 of the Ork Codex. As with prior episodes, I will be assessing this rule set to the following criteria, which are: 1. Who does it benefit? Does this rule occur clan-wide, or does it only benefit one model? 2. How often can it be used? Can it be used for the entire game, or can it only be used situationally? 3. Does the rule fit with the clan culture? So what I'm looking for here is, does this aspect actually make sense in regards to the individual clan according to their lore or fluff? Do you look at this rule or stratagem and say, yep, that's so Deathskulls, that's so Bad Moons, that's so Snakebites, etc. And finally, criteria 4, how cool is it? And as always, the rule of cool is always supreme. I'll be giving each clan a score of 5 for each criteria. So a score of 20 is the best you can get. Scar Boys, 1 command point. The biggest and meanest goth boys are known as Scar Boys and are rumoured to be able to cave in a Space Marine helmet with their bare knuckles. The rule: use this stratagem before the battle. Select a Goth Boys unit, excluding Ard Boys, from your army. That unit gains the Scar Boys keyword, and the strength characteristic of models in that unit is changed to 5. That unit can only use the mob up stratagem to merge with other units of Scarboys. Okay, so the boys who have had the most battles are bigger, stronger, and possibly a bit uglier due to the vast amounts of battle wounds. What is beauty to an orc? Oh look, I'm veering off track already. Okay, let's get back into it. Criteria 1. Who does this benefit? Well, any unit of boys. Look, only one type of unit, which is boys, but because you can use this on as many boy units as your heart desires, providing that you have enough command points, this is pretty good. There is a possibility you can have a detachment of all Scarboys and a couple of HQs. So I'm giving this a 4.7 out of 5. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, the spending of command points must be done before the battle, but the unit or units benefit for the entire game, provided they last that long. So for this reason, I will give it a 4.8 out of 5. Criteria 3. Does it fit the clan lore? Yes, it has been well established in lore that the more battles an orc has, the bigger and stronger he gets. So I'm giving this a 5 out of 5. Criteria 4. How cool is it? This is so cool. It fits with the lore. But what I really like here is that it's the Goths who have a two-tone colour system and have a stratagem which is an obvious mention to one of my favourite music styles, ska, which kind of started the two-toned movement. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me, giving the Scarboy stratagem a total of 19.5 out of 20. Showing off 2 command points. Bad Moons love nothing better than flaunting their wealth through demonstrations of ballistic largesse that leave other greenskins gauze agape and the enemy reduced to flaming ruin. The rule: use this stratagem immediately after resolving a shooting attack with a Bad Moons infantry unit from your army. That unit can shoot all of its weapons a second time. This stratagem can only be used once per phase. Like all rich bastards, the Bad Moons like nothing but to flaunt their wealth in a way they know best, shooting the bejesus out of everything. Yeah, I'm going to pay that. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Any infantry unit which rocks a gun or two. So it's a 4.5 out of 5 for this stratagem. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, immediately after a shooting attack. It can only be used once per phase. So it's kind of situational. I'm giving this a 3.5 out of 5. Criteria 3. Does it fit the clan lore? Heck yeah, you'd expect the yellow gits to flaunt their richness ad nauseum. So it's a 5 out of 5 from me. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Who wouldn't want an opportunity to fire a second time? This is a great stratagem to use on looters and tank busters. So I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5, thus making the total for the Bad Moons a total of 18 out of 20. Drive-by Crumpen. 1 command point. Evil Sons speed freaks are notorious for their deadly hit and run attacks. The rule: use this stratagem at the end of the shooting phase. Select an Evil Sons speed freaks unit from your army. That army can immediately make a move as if it were the movement phase, but cannot charge this turn. Okay, so we have a stratagem which allows your bikes and buggies to move closer into range dagger the enemy to death and then move back out of the enemy's range. I do like that. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Any speed freak unit, so it's a 4.5 out of 5 for this stratagem. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Only in the shooting phase and only once. Again, fairly situational, but a good general should be able to work this to their advantage, so it's a 3.5 out of 5. Criteria 3. Does it fit with the clan lore? Well, the speed freaks are the masters of Drive by Crumpen, and the stratagem is called Drive by Crumpen, so it's a 5 out of 5 for this criteria. From this criteria from me. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Oh yeah, to be able to fall back. You're not falling back, really, you're driving back once you've softened up the enemy. So very cool, and at 1 command point, it's cheap. That's another 5 out of 5, giving the Evil Sons a total score of 18 out of 20. Wreckers, 2 command points. Deathskulls can take apart an enemy vehicle ready for looting before its bewildered crew have even stopped fighting back. The rule: use this stratagem at the start of any phase. Select a Deathskulls unit from your army. You can re-roll wound rolls for attacks made by that unit that target enemy vehicle units until the end of the phase. Looking for an easy chance to loot the big stuff? Well, then this stratagem will help you do it. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Any Deathskulls unit. That's any Deathskulls unit. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Any phase you make a wound on an enemy vehicle, which could be almost every phase. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me. Criteria 3. Does this rule fit the clan lore? Well, as I said in the last episode, the battle is only half the reason why the Deathskulls go to war. The other reason is for the loot. A good Deathskulls soldier is always looking for an opportunity to loot, so it's another 5 out of 5 here. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Well, being able to reroll wounds can potentially destroy units, and which self-respecting orc does not want that? So that's another 5 out of 5 for this stratagem, which gives the Deathskulls a perfect 20 out of 20. Monster Hunters, 3 command points. Snakebites are old hands at hunting large, foul-tempered beasts. The rule: use this stratagem at the start of any phase. Select an enemy model with a wounds characteristic of 10 or more. Add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made by Snakebite units from your army that targeted that model until the end of that phase. The Snakebites are no stranger to large monsters, therefore they know how to handle one when they face it on the battlefield, whether it be made of flesh, steel or bone. Criteria 1. Who benefits from it? Any Snakebite unit. That's a 5 out of 5 for me. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? Well, any phase that you can make a wound on a unit with 2 wounds or more. Well, so this is basically every phase. So that's a 5 out of 5 as well. Criteria 3. Does it fit with the clan rule? Yeah, why not? Snakebites are renowned squeak-off herders, so being able to take down a large behemoth or 2 shouldn't be a big deal. Because of this, I'll give them a 5 out of 5. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Yes, however, 3 command points is a lot to spend, especially when you compare it to the Deathskull Wrecker Stratagem, which is only 2 credit points, and I think a stronger rule. So that's a 4.9 out of 5 for me. And this gives Snakebites a whopping 19.9 out of 20 from me. Dead Sneaky. This is a split level command point. There's 1 command point or 2 command points. These sneaky gits never appear where you expect them. The rule: use this stratagem during deployment. If you spend 1 CP, select a Blood Axe infantry unit from your army that has a power rating of 8 or less, and set it up in hiding instead of placing it in the battlefield. If you spend 2 command points, select a Blood Axe infantry unit that has a power rating of 9 or more instead. At the end of any of your movement phases, that unit can emerge from hiding. Set it up anywhere on the battlefield that is 9 inches away from any enemy models. The sneakiest of the gits can hide and lie await in ambush to surprise the enemy. What's not to love about that? Criteria 1. Who does this benefit? Any infantry unit. However, you need to spend more if that unit is more powerful, which basically means if that unit it has more in it. So the bigger the unit, the bigger the chance you need to spend more to get this stratagem off. Yeah, look, it's a 4.8 out of 5 for me. How often can it be used? Only during deployment, so it's a bit limited. So 4 out of 5. Criteria 3. Does it fit with the clan? Most certainly yes. The Blood Axes are the sneakiest of gits. You know, they'll pop out of thin air if you're not paying attention, so it's a 5 out of 5 here. Criteria 4. Is it cool? Yeah, however, I'm not a big fan of split level command points, especially when there doesn't seem to be much of a gain for spending the extra CP. After all, command points are about as valuable as a bad moon's gob. So that's another 4.5 out of 5 for me. So the Blood Axes get a score of 18.3 out of 20 here. Kill Cruiser Broadside. 3 command points. Freebooters will often call upon orbiting kill cruisers to shell the battlefield from space, causing utter devastation. The rule: use this stratagem at the start of your shooting phase. Select up to D3 points on the battlefield, each more than 6 inches away from the others and visible to a freebooters unit from your army. Roll a D6 for each unit, friend or foe, within 3 inches of any of those points. Subtract 1 from the result if the unit being rolled for is a character. On a 5+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. You can only use this stratagem once per battle. Supporting fire from outer space, causing mayhem and destruction. You've gotta love that. Criteria 1. Who does it benefit? Well, technically, it doesn't benefit anyone. But it does give a negative benefit or penalty to the enemy. But I suppose, in Ork logic, anything that doesn't benefit the enemy is good for you. So therefore, it benefits everyone. You've got to love Ork logic. 5 out of 5 for me. Criteria 2. How often can it be used? The start of any shooting phase, but can only be used once per battle. So it's handy, but it's really expensive. So that's a 3.9 from me. Criteria 3. Does it fit with the clan lore? Finally, a rule which doesn't depict freebooters as neo-libs with fancy hats. They are known to get around in big cruisers, so why wouldn't you want a little bit of help from your friends? For the first time in this series, I can give freebooters a 5 out of 5 for this criteria. Criteria 4, is it cool? Yes, so very much cool. Mortal wounds are the bomb, if you pardon the pun. It's a 5 out of 5 for me. And this gives freebooters a total score of 18.9 out of 20. Okay, so let's look at those scores. All very high scores. This one is close. Only 2 points between last and first place. Okay, we have the Bad Moons and Evil Suns coming in last with 18 points. Then we have Blood Axes coming in at 5th place with 18.3 points, who are trailing the freebooters in 4th place with 18.9. Finally, the Goths get a podium with 19.5 points, securing them 3rd place. In 2nd place, we see the Snakebites getting 19.9 points, narrowly missing the 1st place, which goes to the luckiest of gits of them all with a perfect 20 out of 20, the Deathskulls. Now, let's look at that running total. We have Bad Moons coming in last with 53.9 out of a possible 60 points. Then it's the Goths, who for the first time are not coming last with 54.2 points. We have the freebooters in 5th place with 54.5. In 4th place, the Blood Axes down from 3rd with 56.2 points. In 3rd place, we have the Evil Suns down from their tied 1st place position with 56.9 points. The Deathskulls climb from 4th to 2nd place with 57.8 points. However, they failed to knock off the Snakebites, who are still in top position with a total of 58.7 out of 60. Well, there you have it. What do you think? Do you agree or not? Please leave all comments below. But let's keep it civil, guys. Next time, I will be discussing clan-specific shiny gubbins. So until then, if you're going crumpin', remember to bash early and bash often. If you like this video, please like, or you could share it, or subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you do subscribe, press that notification bell so you get to see these videos as soon as I release them. Also, would you like to be social with Brak? Well, then you can go to his Facebook page, his Instagram account, and he has a Twitter account too. There will be links below in the description. If you would like to help Brak financially, then head over to his Patreon page and make a little subscription there, and that way I will be able to make these videos a little bit better.